Welcome back to Trilby's Notes. Last time we ventured around in the alternate reality of whatever, which I presume was not a hallucination. And we managed to find our way out of there successfully after retrieving a pill bottle left for us by Agent Linkman. A douchebag. He actually ended up being fucking useful. How about that, folks? Instead of dying immediately. And the whispers are gone. Thank you, game. Thank you. So, can we go into the kitchen now? I guess not. What if I push kitchen doors? Push doors. Fine. Can't pull them. Whatever. Okay. Look door. 4 doors, one to the east, open door? It appeared to be locked, probably by a deadbolt on the other side. Don't think I'm unlocking a deadbolt, folks, unless Trilby's fucking awesome. Yeah. Do you have a credit card, Trilby? I didn't think so. Okay. Don't give me that bullshit. Ooh. The hotel bar seemed rather small, but then it was a rather small hotel. There were only 2 small tables and some kind of defunct arcade machine. Look, posters. 3 framed vintage advertisements for 3 brands of drink decorated the wall. If they were originals, they were probably quite valuable. Open door. What the fuck? What? 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 What was that? Okay. I'm gonna fucking attribute that to a hallucination. Before I go check out that painting, we're gonna open this door. Stop moving around and look around here. Look records? Look books? Useless piles of hotel maintenance, paperwork, and correspondence, no doubt. Okay. Okay, look safe. The door was thick, but the lock was an old commercial brand I was highly skilled in cracking. Okie dokie. I hadn't had cause to crack safes for some time, but my hands instantly went into automatic, the thieving mindset returning like an old friend. When the job was done and the safe opened, my nostalgia faded into puzzlement when I found it empty. Oh, god damn it, not again. Just for once, I'd like to crack a safe that actually contains something. Presume that's a reference to 5 Days of Stranging. Oh. Poor Trilby. Okay. Look, painting. I was frankly astonished that Matthew Defoe's painting had survived the immolation of Defoe Manor. As I stared at it, it seemed that the surrounding room began to blur, until only the painting was in focus. I fancied I could hear the creaks and whispers of Defoe Manor's hallways. Oh boy. I felt a bizarre urge to reach out and touch the painting. Well, okay, Sorry about that if that hurt. As I stepped closer, I could feel sound becoming muffled, and my head spinning, as if I were about to faint. My hand, as if pulled by an invisible string, reached out towards the clumsy brushstrokes. White. Defoe Manor, July 28th, AD 1821. Matthew Defoe is 15 years old today. He's excitedly putting the finishing touches to a painting which his father commented on, encouragingly, the first time he's ever been supportive of Matthew's artistic leanings. Matthew is now convinced that his father is lifting from the mysterious depression that has plagued him for as long as either of them can remember. Now, he intends to make the painting absolutely perfect before showing it again. Knock, knock.
Master Matthew, Sir Roderick has requested your presence in the trophy room.
Thank you, James.
And if you would be so good to inform him that I will now be retiring for the night.
Very good, James.
Ah, there you are, boy. Let me introduce my son, Matthew. Hello, this is my friend, Mr. Smith. He's an expert on African tribal art. Not just a scholar. Hardly even that. Just someone with an interest in the subject. And he has offered to assess the figurine I brought back from my travels.
I wasn't aware you had a family, Sir Roderick. Is your wife home, too?
Oh! Regrettably, Belinda is no longer with us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Quite all right, you couldn't have known. She succumbed to illness shortly after Matthew was born.
I finished the painting I showed you, Father.
Oh, good. Well, Mr. Smith, what do you think of the piece?
It's an intriguing little puzzler, actually. The design is reminiscent of a few Central African tribal gods I'm aware of. But to be honest, I've never seen anything like this before. May I ask how you acquired it?
I'm glad you asked. It was 20 years ago, when I was a younger man on my first travels in the Dark Continent. We were traveling along the west coast.
This is totally like a fucked up accent.
When our fuck this. It was an
English clipper named the Sea Angel, and a short exploration revealed that every single crewman had just disappeared. Like Roanoke. Okay. Of course, we immediately sent a letter to the nearest embassy to report the finding. But the point is, it was on the lowest deck of the ship that I found this very figurine you see before you today. What an extraordinary tale! But how do you account for there being an African tribal carving on a British vessel? We were as confused as you are. It wasn't a slave trading vessel, but there must have been a Negro on the crew. It has been a personal mystery of mine ever since. I was hoping you could shed a little light on the matter. But there is more to tell. I haven't even begun to recount the strange events that have surrounded this artifact.
Would you care for a glass of brandy?
Thank you, that would be most kind.
Matthew, fetch the brandy from the kitchen, and some glasses.
Yes, Father. Look, Defoe Manor's kitchen was small and somewhat sparsely furnished, in contrast to the wealth of the house as a whole. Beside the sideboard, the only furniture was a large wooden table and a narrow drinks cabinet in the corner. Look, cabinet. There's a large drinks cabinet in the corner full of mysterious bottles and arrangements of glasses. A bottle of fine brandy was clearly visible on the top shelf. Get brandy. Get brandy. Matthew took the brandy bottle and a pair of appropriate glasses.
Bang, bang!
Hello. You haven't tried to speak to me in a while. Oh boy. I did another painting today. I showed it to Father, and he said it was promising. I keep trying to tell him about you, but he never listens. You haven't knocked for me in so long, I was beginning to wonder. Is that an apron on the table? Is that a machete on the wall? Hey, do you want to see my painting? Is that a welder mask near the door? Oh boy. Look, apron. It was a tough, well-used brown leather apron. Matthew wondered which member of the staff had been using it. Look, knives. A selection of knives were arranged conveniently above the sideboard. One of them was Sir Roderick's old jungle machete, which he liked to keep there as some sort of joke. Look, mask. A smoked mask, the sort of thing used by metal workers, hung from the west wall. The gardener liked to keep it there as some kind of souvenir from his younger days. How could I, Trilby, possibly have known what Matthew was carrying that day? Push painting under door? I'm pushing the painting under your door. Okay, wow, I fucking parsed that correctly.
How dare you, sir! You intrude on my hospitality and insult my judgment!
That's Father.
Get out of my house, you worm!
I'd better see what's the matter. Knock on door. Perhaps Matthew should try rephrasing that. Open door? The door was locked as always, but there was a substantial gap of about an inch at the bottom of the door. Can I open this door? Mrs. Beaton didn't like it when people went into her pantry. Well, fine then. Father? Oh, it's you. Father, what happened? I heard shouting. That old fool told me some rubbish about my figurine. Said the only tribe it could have come from all died in slavery years ago. Actually had the nerve to accuse me of buying from a forger. I'm sorry, Father. What are you apologizing for? Where's that damn brandy? I've got it here. Abusive fucker, isn't he? I'll go back to my room, Father. Show me your painting. Father, you said you had a painting. Show it to me. I can't, Father. And why not? Because. Come on, why not? Out with it. Because I gave it to the boy behind the door. I see. Father, go back to your room, boy. I have to write my diary entry. Yes, Father. Son, diary entry. Son, diary entry. An hour of silence passed, and Matthew grew concerned about his father. Strangely, the most disturbing thing had been Sir Roderick's reaction to Matthew mentioning the boy behind the door. In the past, raising this had usually provoked a violent rage or an instant flat denial. Matthew wondered what sort of anxiety was going through his father's mind. What's that? Father, what are you doing? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You guys remember how this was explained in 5 Days a Stranger? I do. Matthew was confused by his own reluctance. He had longed to see what was beyond this door his entire life, but now, given the chance, he was struck with fear. He peered cautiously through and saw a set of rough stone steps leading down to some kind of basement. I should have done this the moment you came into this world, demon child. May God forgive me for having a part in your creation. You see what you've done? I didn't want him to see this.
Professor Chahal is a dick!
Is everything alright, Terry? Yes, everything's fine. It's just for a moment there I thought I saw. Never mind. Siobhan and I were talking about you after you ran out of the room. I said you seemed like something was making you terribly anxious. Frankly, I think that's still the case. I'm okay, really, I am. Well, if you're sure. I was certain my mind was not playing tricks on me. I had been back there in Defoe Manor, looking through the eyes of Matthew Defoe. I had seen the events that had created John Defoe, I saw his death at the hands of Sir Roderick, that terrible violent end that would bring him back as that awful wraith. But somehow, seeing that event, it was clear to me that there was more to this than the ghost of one retarded youth. There had been something very wrong about that idol, even before it was used to destroy John Defoe. A name stood out in my memory: the Sea Angel, the name of the ship on which Sir Roderick had found the figurine. I now had a lead. Professor, do you know anything about a ship called the Sea Angel? You know, it's funny you should mention that name. There's a really old wooden chisel among the Defoe Manor artifacts, and the words Sea Angel are carved into the handle. Where is this chisel? Out on display in the convention hall, next to the dining room. What's all this about, Terry? It's nothing. It's just a little side project my clients want me to get onto. Thank you for your help. No problem. Take care of yourself. Okie dokie. Well, I don't remember this note being here. Look, painting. I was frankly astonished that Matthew Defoe's someone had stuck a piece of paper under the frame, perhaps for me to find. Get paper. It wasn't a page from a religious book. It was a page from a religious book I wasn't familiar with. I here enclose it with these notes. Victim 5. The child. The fifth man who desired judgment was the child, whose father held the carving of the slave. The prince came to him, and was at once rightly pleased with what he found, for the house of the child and his father already knew well the name of the king. And as the prince watched, the child was thrown down by his father, and broken with the wood of the prince's soul. But as the child's body, mind, and soul began to drift apart, the prince held them together, and he said, "You are the child, and to you I grant power, for I see in you the potential that will grant my father the king his greatest wish. You shall be not of the land of technology, nor of the realm of magic, but of both, and thus you shall form the bridge. And across the bridge the king shall come, to bring his message to the men of technology. Through you, child, the bridge will come, and thus I name you the Bridge Keeper." And the prince touched the child, and he was the Bridge Keeper, and his 3 aspects were granted power, so that his soul would join with the prince's soul in the wood of the tree. And the Bridge Keeper rose up, and threw down his father, and threw down his brother, and truly did they know the name of the king. And into the house of his father went the body and the mind of the Bridge Keeper. Okie dokie. You know, I read that powerfully because, you know, that's how religious texts are supposed to be written, but I think that raises more questions than answers. So, we touched a painting, and we had like a fucking vision, like we're an oracle, of what occurred that night when John Defoe was murdered by his father, basically, and he murdered both of them, and that whole religious text shit, Prince, Bridge Keeper, and all these visions that Trilby's having, I wonder if any of this is like being fucking generated by the pills. Well, folks, oh boy. I guess next time on Let's Get On With It, Trilby's Notes. Who the fuck is that thing? It's fucking like the tall, like the white, I guess the lanky, like thin stick man or whatever. A demon. I don't know what the fuck he is, but I gotta admit, even I'm creeped out just a wee.